Hello folks, Stone Dog here. This is going to be a response to venomfangx's Proof of Christianity challenging skeptics. Notice I'm not using any foul language or character assassination. Let's listen in.
He wrote that book, right? And of course I've already said that it's not just one book, it's many books. God wouldn't exactly make us rely on what one person said, and I'm not even asking you to rely on what I said. Pick up a Bible and look for it yourself. I'm not making up stuff. The greatest miracle and the greatest proof in the Bible's favor is actually Jesus Christ himself and the spreading of the gospel message. Yes, the Bible is reaching every nation in the world, and the amazing thing is, the prophecies given by the old prophets of the Torah, of Israel, they all said that the Messiah to come would bring the entire world into the knowledge of the God of Israel. Jesus is no doubt the single vessel in which this has become a reality. Now, there is a timeline given by the prophets before Jesus was born, and if you don't believe these texts were written before Jesus was born, look to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. They were discovered in 1948 or 1947, and they have all the Old Testament books in them. These Old Testament books contain the prophecies of the Messiah to come, written before Jesus came. They said that the Messiah would come, die, and then the temple would be destroyed. This Messiah had to bring the whole world into the knowledge of Israel before his death and before the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD, which happened right after Jesus died. So, either Jesus is...
Okay, let's talk about that. I didn't put something that you said in there about this book right here being the most printed ever and the most translated into languages. Let's talk about that. Well, if it's so popular, if people buy it so often, why does it never make the bestsellers list on, Amazon or something? Well, because most of the people who buy this are religious organizations, and they're basically handing it to people and go, here, read this, it's so great, it's so great. People don't go, I think I'm going to go down to the store and buy one of these. It just doesn't happen. So you could just as easily say, well, since it's the most printed book in the world, it's because God did it. You can also say it's because the church has done it and tried to shove it down people's throats by handing it to them and say, hey, read this. There's no contradictions in there, even though there are. Anyway, let's get to your next point, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Oddly enough, you didn't give a date for when they were written. So, you didn't really give any proof that the Dead Sea Scrolls were written before Jesus. I mean, I know, I've looked into this myself, I know that they were, but since you didn't give any proof, no links or anything to when they were written, people could easily say, well, you didn't prove that the Dead Sea Scrolls were written before Jesus. So let's continue and see what else you got to say.
The Messiah, or there is none, and every evidence in all reality points to the fact that he is, because look at the whole world. It knows now the God of Israel. All the Gentiles of the world now.
One more point, the whole, you said yourself that Jesus had to bring the knowledge of the God of Israel to the whole world before he died, and that certainly didn't happen. And you said the destruction of the Second Temple, but did the prophecy say the Second Temple, or did it just say the destruction of the Temple? Because if they just said the destruction of the Temple, that could easily mean the Third Temple, the Fourth Temple, the Fifth Temple. I mean, technically, what if it gets built tomorrow and somebody bombs the hell out of it? Well, between those two times, could the Messiah not have come, technically? Let's keep listening.
Worship the God of Israel, who was simply the God of the Israelites until Jesus was known. So, imagine then, if you're being completely skeptical here and you're saying you still don't believe it, basically here's what you believe. You believe that a book was written about a fictitious God who gave a timeline of when someone would come along, born in Bethlehem, born of a virgin, give great miracles, die, be resurrected from the dead. People actually believe it and then spread the message to the whole world. You believe that that was to happen, given the exact timeline that you've given, because you believe this was fictionally written by some fallible man. So this fictional God that this someone made up came up with all that stuff, and then it came to pass. What are the odds of that? Why don't you try it?
Ha 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 ha, that one's really funny, man. You know what I believe? I believe that one thing you can never do is use this book to prove itself. I'm sorry. Just like you can't use this book to disprove. Give me just a second here. Yeah, just like you can't use this book to disprove this book. You can't do it because this book disproves this book. Isn't that odd? And no, like I said, you cannot use it. What I believe is that somebody was reading the Torah and go, wow, if this Jesus fellow was the Messiah, then he must have been born of a virgin, so let me write that down. And he must have done this, so let me write that down. And he must have been this, so let me write that down. The truth is, you have absolutely no extra biblical proof that Jesus even existed. I mean, yes, you seem to have... excuse me. Seem to have a couple of people mentioning some guy named Jesus with a ministry that got crucified, but that's really all the extra biblical proof you've got. And don't try to show me some other gospels, because to be honest with you, there are a lot of different versions of gospels. Like, how about the Gospel of Judas, which is, if Jesus ever existed, in my personal opinion, is what really did happen. I mean, Judas was the pivotal person that brought Christianity forward. Of course, you're trying to tell me he betrayed Jesus. No, I don't believe he betrayed Jesus. That if he didn't, he did what he did because that was what was supposed to happen. Jesus even said, you know, one of you, and technically the translation has been proven to be a mistranslation. Jesus was saying not one of you would betray me, but one of you would hand me over, and then he told Judas to go do what needed to be done. So, you know, it seems to me Jesus knew exactly what was going on, and probably Judas knew exactly what was going on and what he was supposed to do. So he's not really a betrayer as far as I can tell, and that's kind of what the Gospel of Judas seems to say. So no other Gospels, no Bible. Show me proof outside of those things that Jesus was born of a virgin, had this ministry and said all these things, that he fulfilled all those prophecies of the Old Testament, that he performed all these miracles. Show me one extra biblical proof of a miracle that Jesus made that's like a historian that was writing about the history of everything else that was going on at the time, and then mentioned Jesus and the miracles he performed, and the fact that he was born of a virgin and born in Bethlehem, which, oddly enough, why is he called Jesus of Nazareth? If he was born in Bethlehem, wouldn't he technically be Jesus of Bethlehem? I'm just asking that. Anyway, so you really have not shown any skeptic any proof whatsoever. You're just trying to use the Bible to prove itself, which you cannot do. And I think you know that. But I think you're hoping somebody won't be paying attention and accidentally get caught up in that. No, show me some extra biblical proof that he was born a virgin, he did all those miracles, that he was crucified, and then that he rose on the third day. Go ahead. I dare you. I double dog dare you to show me some extra biblical proof of all these things, these prophecies fulfilled. Go ahead. I'm waiting. And as always with my stuff, if you want to, anybody, venomfangx, or anybody else that's watching this wants to post a video response or a text comment, I have them to be automatically approved. I don't even get to approve them. The only way I will take them down if they're totally off subject and are totally meaningless. Otherwise, they get up on my site. And I've never disabled one video of the rating system.